everyone. I'm just going to wait for a couple of minutes just to make sure everything is going live fine, and I can, oh yes, it is definitely live now. Hello everyone. It just did a funny little thing and it looks like it is all good now. So we're just heading to 7 p.m. I'm just going to just wait for a couple of minutes just to get started, and then I'm going to show you the amazing quilts that I brought back from Phoenix, Arizona, which is going to be quite exciting, and tell you all about some updates for the So Happy Quilt Association. I'm also going to talk to you about my quilt here, which is my recent one that I finished, so I can show you that. So if you are watching, if it's all good, do make a comment. I think I'm going to be able to see the comments. It says there's no comments yet, but I can keep an eye out for that. So we will get started in a minute. I might see maybe if we can make the screen go bigger. Let me have a look. My little camera might follow me. Let's have a look. Oh no, that made it even worse. Oh, that's fine. How funny. The wonders of technology, honestly. These new cameras that I've been like getting used to, it's quite, oh, I can see the comment screen better now, so that's really, really helpful. So I can see there's a couple of people watching, so let's get started. So hello everybody, hello fellow quilters of the world and fellow quilting friends. I hope you're all doing really well. The weather has been mad, hasn't it? I actually was in a really, really like thick dress this morning, and then it got really, really hot, so I had to change something really summery, and now I've gone back into this one. So what is going on? We had horrendous rain here earlier. It was like really sunny and really, really rainy. I often, having been a florist for 12 years, I often feel sorry for brides that get married in the, hello Patricia, I can see you. I really feel sorry for brides that choose July and choose June and think, oh, it's going to be great weather, and then it rains on a Saturday or Sunday. It's really sad. But yeah, so I often think back to those years of me setting up flowers. But so I thought it'd be really good. Hello Eloise, yes, happy Stormy Sunday. I know it's been crazy, isn't it? Maybe it goes really well with my quilt then. I'm going to tell you all about that in a bit. But I thought it'd be really good to show you the quilts that I brought back from Phoenix, Arizona, and they're really, really interesting. And when I went out there, so I went out there back in February, which was part of my 50th birthday celebrations, and I stayed with my amazing friend Laurie Duncan. She lives literally just outside Phoenix, and she took me to this most amazing antique place, which was, you know, it was just crazy. But before we went to the antique place, which I will show you what I got there, we went to like these little shops, like a little shopping area, and there was actually this tea room, this English tea room, and it was quite funny because there were no seats available actually to go in there. And Laurie rang them and she said, oh, can I book 2 seats? And they said, oh no, it's fully booked. And she said, but my British friend is coming over. And they were like, oh, we'll find you 2 seats then. So we went to this English tea place and it was very nice. And actually, being gluten intolerant is probably the best afternoon tea I've had in a gluten-free option. So it's wonderful. So then we went next door into these little shops, and one of them was lots of craft things and lots of antique things from indigenous Americans, and some of them were from the reserves that were around the Phoenix and Arizona area. And the first thing I saw was this fabric. I mean, look at the fabric on that. It's really, really, really cute. It's literally got like little patchwork cats and little patchwork dogs and little clocks, and they're all upside down and they're all in different directions. So I thought, that's really interesting. So then I saw the little label, and the little label on the back. So originally it said $75, and then it was reduced to $37. So I thought, okay, maybe that's going to be probably about £30. So, you know, okay, I think that will be all right. And then I looked at the label on the other side, and the label on the other side said Hoppy made and used baby quilt sold on a native fundraiser. So I obviously quizzed my friend Laurie about, okay, so what is the Hoppy native? And she said, oh, okay, well, that's the Native Americans that are around the area, and because there's Indian reserves there. I was like, right, okay. So then we opened it up, and oh wow, it was just wonderful. And this was even before we saw the label on the Yes, you can catch up later, Patricia. You can watch it later, watch it back. We're going to put it on YouTube as well. So so then I opened it up, and this is what I saw. I was just like, oh wow, this is absolutely stunning. It literally, it's quite a lot of different types of fabric. It's not just cottons, it's also fleeces as well, and what they've done is to quilt it, they've done like this tying method to quilting, which apparently is one of their like things that they do. There's also like velvet fabric, and there's applique fabric, and it's really cute. So it's probably, as you can see, because I'm holding it, it's probably about lap size quilt. And I just thought that is just adorable. So I then noticed a label on the back, and this is why when I show you the other quilts and read you those labels, this is why I'm going to talk to you about the Quilt Alliance, because they're really great. And on the back was a label, and the label said, I'll read it and then I'll show you it. The label says Crazy String Quilt by Iula Koyawena, Hoppy Second Misa, 2011, with a lovely little sign. So let me show you the very cute little label. So there is the very cute little label, and so yeah, so it's what, 14 years old. So it's really good quality for 14 years old. And so I had a look actually on Facebook for this lady that is called Iula Koyawena, and I have sent her a message on Facebook. And so if you hear this, Iula, I'd love to be in contact with you about your quilt. I'd love to hear more about how you made it, when you made it, and just for you to know that it now lives back in the UK with me, just outside Brighton, with all my other quilts, and I absolutely love it. And it's so adorable. And then remember the price I told you at the beginning? So originally it was $75, and then it was reduced to $37. And actually, when I went to pay for it, they let me have it for $25. I mean, you know, it's just mad, really. But it was definitely, you know, worth every penny. And I just thought, yeah, you can come on home with me. And it's really nice. The backing's done really well, and the way she's like done the corners, she just folded it over, so she's obviously made the backing bigger than the quilt and then folded it over. And I think there is some kind of wadding in it, maybe not very thick, potentially. It's quite difficult to tell, actually. It's probably a really thin wadding that's actually in there. So that is really nice. And so that is the first quilt that I got in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was trying to think of the place. Had a really lovely name. It might come back to me where we went to. But if you Google the English tea rooms in Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to find it, and this lovely place. And that's where this quilt came from. So after spending some time at the quilt show that was on, that I went to when I was out there, I decided that one of the days, let's just have a day out around Phoenix before I flew home. And I said to Laurie, where's interesting that we can go to? And she said, oh, there's this really great place that's an antique place called the Armadillo Antique Emporium. And we went in. Oh my goodness, it was literally absolutely huge. It was just huge. I just was shocked. I've never been anywhere like it. I've been into antique places, but nothing like that. And it literally had like loads of cabinets and loads of rows and stuff all out, and it was just wonderful. And Arizona is 7 hours behind the UK. So when we were out there, I was literally sending photos to my husband back here in the UK and showing him all the antique toys that were in the cabinet. And at one point he messaged me and he said, oh, I really want this one. And it was a transformer car or whatever it was from his childhood, and he literally spotted it like this tiny on a photo. He's like, this is the one. So I had to try and work out, okay, which cabinet was it in to go back in. But it was just great. We literally spent hours in there. Anyway, so we were going up and down the rows, and there was like lots of like fabric stuff and everything all like piled up. And then the first quilt that I came across at this Armadillo antique place was this one, and it's quite small. Before I show you the front, I'm going to read you the label on the back, because I think that's probably for this one, this is why I went for it, because I thought, oh, they're so adorable. So the pattern, not the pattern, the label on the back says this. It says, "This was my first attempt at quilt making. I made it for David, my best friend. I learnt during a class. Enrolled in. It's quite hard to read that word. I enrolled in at the city of Glendale, Arizona, Molly Parsons," and it says 3/1991. So she obviously made it in March 91, and I thought, wow, so that's like what, 34 years old now. I mean, you know, it's just so. I did try to see if I could find Molly Parsons from Glendale, Arizona on Facebook, but there are a lot of Molly Parsons in Glendale. So Molly Parsons, if you are listening to this, or if you watch it back and you recognise the quilt, you can message me, because again, it's going to live with me here on the outskirts of Brighton, in my sewing room, in my storeroom. And so this is what the quilt looks like. So this is the second one, and it is really, really cute. As you can see, it is a little sampler quilt. So she's got 4 different patterns on here. Just a general like square 9-patch pattern. She's got this one is like a drunkard's path pattern, but she's obviously not put them wobbly. She's put them all in like a flower pattern, and then she's got a Dresden plate. I really love a Dresden plate. And then she's got this lovely star pattern. So she's used all the same fabrics for all of them, with this beautiful pale blue backing, and then pale blue backing on the back, and it's definitely wadded. I can definitely feel wadding in it. Whether it's, I couldn't even tell you what kind of wadding it is, but I can definitely feel something, and it's wadding in it, and it's really, really, really soft. It's really lovely. And then I think she's possibly, if we have a look at it again closer, I think she's done some machine sewing, and then she's hand quilted all of like these bits, because I can see all the hand stitches in it. But it's really lovely, and I just thought that is wonderful. And I just thought, okay, this is one that I'm going to get. I'll tell you at the end how much this was, because I bought 3 of them from this antique place, and then they just like did all the price together. So I'm going to put that one to one side, and then I will show you the next 2. So I can see that a few more people have joined us. So hello to the new people. If you've missed the quilt that I started off at the beginning, it was just this one that I was showing, which was made on a Hoppy reservation, and then obviously we'll come on to this one, but you can obviously watch it back after. So do say hello. I can say hello back to you. So then I saw this one. Now, I didn't actually see the label on the back. The first thing I saw was the fabric on the front. And the first thing that really jumped out at me was definitely, I will show you, I will turn it around, because actually, let me just get it this way. It's definitely this one, which is the Care Bear one. And if you know me well, I really love Care Bears as well as Moomins, and probably because I'm the first generation of Care Bears, I reckon that's probably why I love them so much. And I really love that fabric, and look, it's so cute. And so what she's done on this one, I mean, did we know it was a lady? I think it was. I'll come back to that in a minute. So what she's done on this one is she has got 9 blocks of each of the star pattern. She's got like the hexagon in the middle with the little tiny triangles, and then she's got, I think it's like a kite shape, it looks like here, and then big triangles coming around here, and then obviously she's put them all together with the sashing that goes through the middle, and then I think this one has probably been long armed. So I mean, Bernie, if you're watching this, you could probably tell if it's been long armed or not. I think it probably has. Because it's got a really lovely pattern, of course, unless she drew it freehand and then she quilted it, I don't know, but it's got like these swirls that are going up here, and it's got like a peachy fabric, peachy cotton, sorry, not fabric. She probably is a peach cotton, I reckon, because of the peach going around the edge. But this is just an adorable one. So as you can see, so it's got little pussycats in the middle here, it's got little doggies there, it's got bumblebees there, it's got, what's it got here? Is that cats? I think it's cats on that one. And then a fish, and of course good old Ariel from Disney. So she wondered if she made it for I'll answer the question in a minute, Eloise. I wonder if she made it for someone who loves Disney. Possibly, I don't know. And then another cat at the bottom, and another, oh yeah, we'll see the Care Bear one, and then good old Nemo, which when I saw it, I thought, okay, to have Nemo in it, it's going to be possibly about, what would you think, 25 years? So how long ago did Nemo come out? I mean, it's got to be about that. So Eloise is asking, where do you keep all the quilts? Well, actually, I've now got a shelf which I can show you. My little camera's going to follow me over here. And so this is where I keep all my vintage quilts in there, which I will talk about at another time. And then I've got all other like bits of quilts and quilt jackets and things like that. So the ones, because I haven't made them, I don't store them in the ones that I make, but I store them over there for other little quilts. So yeah, so they're all happily sitting on the shelf, all like being together, which is really, really cute. So labels, right, so this one does have a label on the back, and this one says made especially for the Phoenix Area Quilters Association. So I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. So let me show you the label. So there is the label. Hopefully you can see that okay. There you go. There is the label. And I just thought, okay, so there's obviously some kind of like group, and I did actually obviously Google them, and I've checked them out on Facebook and YouTube and that, and I have found the Phoenix Area Quilt Association, otherwise known as the PAQA. And so I thought, okay, that's really, really, really lovely. So I thought this quilt, I love it because of the Care Bears and because of all the Disney stuff, and we will take that one home as well. But there's no other label on it, so it doesn't say like the name of the person, but just the Phoenix Area Quilters Association, really. So I'll show you the backing. The backing is really, really, really lovely. It's so adorable. So the next one which I bought, which I literally was so excited about, I was just like, oh, I don't care how much it costs, I literally want this quilt. The first thing I saw was the backing. So I'm going to explain a little something to you. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Underground Railroad quilts. And so there's this story about how in the slavery times, women would make quilts to help the slaves to escape and to go up to Canada. And so there's always patterns that are within the Underground Railroad quilts, and I just thought, wouldn't it be amazing to find an Underground Railroad quilt? But even if it's one that's a replica of it, I would have absolutely loved that. But unfortunately, that is not what I found. However, I found one that is kind of linked to it, which I'm going to explain to you. So this was the back of this. Is quite a big quilt, so it might be a bit difficult for me to hold it up, but I will try. So this is the backing fabric on it. I thought, wow, that's really, really beautiful. And then I saw the binding. The binding is really, really beautiful. And then I saw the label, or should I say two labels. I was like, oh wow, there is two labels on this one, here they are. So the first label, so before I show you the inside, I'm going to read you the label. So the first label is actually stitched onto it. The second label was actually on it like a little card, and then it did have the price on it, and I think the price was about $100 on the quilt. And I thought, okay, well that's probably going to work out about £85, so I'm very happy with that. Hello Sue James, nice to see you. I'm just onto this quilt. So the little label on the quilt is, so this is what it says. It says, and this is probably going to give you hope for you quilt makers out there. It says started in 2005 and completed in 2009. So 4 years. So 4 years it took her to, or should I say it to them, to make the quilt. And then it says soldiers quilts, in quotes. It says made by Mary Lou Ward. I'm like, wow, we got the name of the lady who made the quilt. This was the first quilt I made during the PAQA Civil War study. And I thought, hang on a minute, I've heard PAQA before. Of course, it's the Phoenix Area Quilters Association. So, which then links back to this one with that label on there. So that means that this quilt and this quilt might be made by the same person, who knows? But they're definitely linked because they're by quilters from the same association. So it says, this was the first quilt I made during the PAQA Civil War study. It was patterned after an authentic quilt shown in an American patchwork and quilting. and I think that's obviously a magazine, American Patriarchal and Quilting, like our ones, and used for the soldiers' cots when in camp and also when they were wounded. I made mine slightly larger to accommodate a twin bed. So a twin bed, the Americans, we call ours a double bed, they call theirs a twin. So that's basically the size that you're looking at, as a double bed size. And then I read the next label. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And while I was like looking like really fascinated about the quilt, Laurie was just off around trying to find out what other antique dolls and antique things we could find. So that was quite funny. So the next label says soldier's quilt, again in quotes. This quilt was started during the PAQA's Civil War study, patterned after an authentic quilt shown in American Patchwork and Quilting magazine, and used for soldiers' cots in camp or hospitals for the wounded, made by Mary Lou Ward. And then it says 2005 to 2008, Phoenix, Arizona. So it was like, wow. So what I actually realised when I've done some research, when I was talking earlier about the Underground Railroad quilts, if you haven't heard about it, Google it, because it's such a fascinating story. And my quilt group will be pleased to know that actually next year we're going to be making an Underground Railroad quilt, because I've been planning that. So that's going to be really exciting. And so the way it links the Underground Railroad quilts is that these ones, back in the Civil War time in America, the ladies that made them would make these quilts and then sell them and then raise the money to pay for the Underground Railroad quilts. And then those ones would then be hung outside their houses with certain patterns on it to show the enslaved people that were trying to escape, to get to Canada. They'd show them which direction to go in. So actually, it does link back to the Underground Railroad quilts, which I just thought, wow, that's just amazing. And so let me show you the quilt, because you're going to be really, really excited about this. I'm just going to move the paper I'm going to talk to you about to do with the Quilt Alliance, because I don't want that to go flying anywhere. And then, so this is, get ready for this, everyone, because this is just amazing. I would literally probably could have melted actually when I saw this, because it's just adorable. Right, so here we go. So I'm going to show you. I wonder if let me see if I can lay it. Never mind, just see. Oh yeah, if I lay it on here, then I can hold it up a bit more and then you can see it. So this is the quilt. This is the pattern on the quilt. And as you can see, all of the fabric is replica to the Civil War fabric. So that is just beautiful. And there's huge amounts of work that's gone into this quilt. It is definitely machine sewn. However, I think I can see if I can find you one. See, I'm being covered by the quilt now. However, as you can see, there is all these squares in the middle around here. And so obviously like the blocks in the middle, and then what they did was that they've done squares and then a centre one, and then they've done the triangles, and then they've done the quilting effect, which I'll talk to you about, this quilting effect in it. But in the squares in the middle, the majority of them have writing, and the writing has the name of people, and it says like this one. Let me read it. It says Dawn Akamoto, the 7th of September 2005, Bear Cabin Retreat. Wow. So then I was like, right, let's find the next one. So there's none on the top row, but there is one here. So this one says Kaylin Gibberalt. Sorry, Kaylin, if I've pronounced your surname wrong. Civil War Study Swap. Interesting. 2006. Okay. So then we keep looking. It then says Jan Dusty Mars Girl Gang 2009. I mean, look, it literally goes on and on and on, and every single one, let's look at some more. It says Tony White Gang Leader 2009. Wow, that's amazing. Right, look at the next one. It says Stephanie Higgins Bear Cabin July 05 Civil War Study. So now there was one. Where was the one that said it said about the, oh, hang on, what's this one? It says Clarissa Cosgrove, Historic Sharu Ranch, 2005. So I'm assuming Carol Harnold, 2006. This one says I can't read that. I'm really sorry. It's a bit scribbly. Civil War Study 2006. This one's Patricia Jackson, Civil War Study Group 2006. So can you see that? So obviously what the lady who made it, let's just remind ourselves of who made it. Annie, what was her name? Mary Lou Ward. So Mary Lou Ward, if you're out there, again, I have tried to find a Mary Lou Ward on Facebook, but there's loads of Mary Lou Wards in the Phoenix area again. So maybe we can put a cry out on social media to try and find these ladies, so she knows that her quilt ended up back in the UK as well. But I'm assuming probably what happened was that the lovely Mary Lou Ward was going on sewing retreats and quilt retreats and ranch retreats, and as she was going round, maybe the other ladies there, her friends, were making a square to go into the quilt. I mean, it's just wonderful. It honestly, let me just hold it up a bit higher for you, so you can see a bit better. But I mean, look at that. Isn't that just stunning? So it's got this beautiful border all the way around it. And it's got the beautiful border again, like I mentioned earlier. It is the Civil War fabric, and then she's got like a little binding here, and then another edge in here, and then obviously got the squares, and then she's putting the triangles with more bits through here, and more sashing, I should say. And then what she's done is she's done what's called a stippling effect, and so it's got like a stippling here, which is a bit like a wiggle stitch like that, and she's obviously done that to quilt it, because it is actually quite heavy, as you can probably work out. I'm literally like, because it is quite heavy, but it's really, really lovely. It's really beautiful. And the stippling effect is really lovely. And in fact, I actually learned recently from Karen at the Isle of Wight Sewing Studio, who's a brother sewing machine dealer, that one of the brother sewing machines actually does have a stippling stitch, so it literally can do that. And I was like, wow, okay, I wonder whether she had a brother machine. Who knows? But isn't it just great? Great. And I think what's made it more wonderful for all four of the quilts is the labels that's on it, because it's given us more information about who made it, when they made it, and things like that. And so you're probably wondering about the cost of how much it was. So like I said, this one was priced at about $100, and then we went to pay for it. They reduced it to $70, and I thought, wow, I'm not going to argue, but I still would have been happy to pay 100. So actually, when I ended up getting this one, and then obviously I got that one, I think these were literally like $15 each, so they weren't really much money, but I absolutely love them. So so ladies, if you hear this, and we'll put some pleas out on social media to try and find you, because I think it would be nice to, like I said, I have two of them, the Phoenix area Quilt Association. I have actually Facebooked you, and I've also emailed you. So if you see that, then you can reply. But they're going to live with me forever. I'm actually going to treasure them. I did actually take them to a sewing retreat that I went on in March, and I showed everybody there, and they loved them as well. But this is just wonderful, and I think the fact that it links back to those elusive Underground Railroad quilts is just wonderful, because it's a Civil War study. So they obviously followed a pattern, but it is really, really, really great. So that is the quilts that I got. So I'm just going to fold them up, and then I'm going to talk to you about the Quilt Alliance, which again is really an amazing charity. And let me just fold this up, and then I'm going to put this here. There we go. And before I'm going to get my paperwork to talk to you about the Quilt Alliance, which is over here, and have a quick sip of tea, and then we can carry on. I've got my my Liberty chili cup with me. So before I tell you about the Quilt Alliance, let me tell you about my quilt, because actually this kind of links into it as well. And this is one that I've recently finished. You might have seen a glimpse of it when I did the Facebook Live, when our website went live on the 9th of June, because I did have it then, but I hadn't actually finished it. I hadn't backed it, and I hadn't put the label on it, and I hadn't finished it. And I really love, one of the things I really love doing, as you know, I do love Liberty quilts, and I do love hand sewing, and this one is obviously not Liberty fabric, but it's definitely all hand sewn. And what I really love doing is I love doing city quilts, and I love making quilts that are in homage to something or represent something. And there is another one which is in my sewing room, which you probably saw on the other Facebook Live, and so you would have seen that. And I'm going to do more about that again at some point. But this one here is actually in homage to Louisa May Alcott, because she's the lady who wrote Little Women, which is obviously a great book to read, great film to watch. One of her famous sayings was, "I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning to sail my ship." And I think basically that's what we're all trying to do in life, aren't we? Is we're all just trying to find our way, work out things, and just go along in life, really. And so what I did was I started off, so it's all city quilted, it's all using scrap fabric. I started off with a beach across the bottom. There's some funny little things in the beach, like I put some bumblebees, which you hopefully wouldn't find on the beach because you won't get stung. And then I got some little crabs, which are like coming into it. And then you've got some ice cream fabric down the bottom, which is quite funny. And then I'm going to see if I can come this way. Oh, I'm out of the thing. And then you've got the ice creams at the bottom, and then you've got some beach huts, and then so this is basically the beach bit, and then this is obviously the sea, and then this is the sky, and then the sky has clouds in it, and it has like storms, and then of course you've got the boats. So the story of this quilt is obviously going along the lines of Louisa May Alcott's famous quote, and we're not afraid of storms because we're learning to sail our ship. And so it starts off with, in life you're going along and happily in your ship, happily in your boat going along, and then you're going to get storms that are going to hit you. You're going to get lightning that's going to hit you, rain that's going to hit you, but you're going to get through that. You are going to get through that, and you're going to come out the other side, even if you end up with the next storm coming in and actually there's more lightning in it and it's going to hit you. But then when you come out the other side, it's all going to be plain sailing all the way along, and it's going to be nice and smooth. So that is that one. I'm trying to work out what next one to do. I'm thinking of starting on doing Emmeline Pankhurst, which was a suffragette, and her famous saying was, "I'd rather be a rebel." So I might do that one. I'm thinking about doing P.B. Barnum because, as you know, I really, really love The Greatest Showman. His famous saying was, "There's no greater honour than to make people happy." And the other one I really like as well is Beatrix Potter's, that the smallest person can make the biggest change. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a poll in the Facebook group, and you can help me all choose which to start, because I don't know which to start. But with this one, I have put a label on the bottom, and so the label obviously does say that I'm not afraid of storms, from learning to sail my ship. Louisa May Alcott, handmade quilt using scrap fabric and embroidery cotton. Finished June 2025 by me. So this is where we get on to the Quilt Alliance. So have you ever heard of the Quilt Alliance? So this is the leaflet for the Quilt Alliance, and that is them. So they are based in America, but you can very much get involved even though you're in the UK. And I met the Quilt Alliance on their stand at the quilt show that I went to in Phoenix, Arizona, and had a really, really, really great chat to them. And what they're all about is they're all about getting you to label your quilts. And of course, this is really, really interesting, because if those ladies hadn't have labelled these ones, we'd have no information. And there is a really interesting story about the Red Cross quilts. And if there's time, because I can see we're just gone a half past, but I will see. I would maybe tell you about that. But so the reason why you should be labelling your quilts is because you really don't want, it says about, don't let the history of your quilt fade away, because you're going to make this amazing quilt, even if it's machine sewn, hand sewn, whatever, and you don't know where it's going to end up in many years to come. You might pass it down to your grandchildren or your great grandchildren, or you might give it to a charity shop, or you give it to to a museum maybe, and then in years and years to come, people in like 100 years time might be looking at your quilt and thinking, okay, so what fabric did they use, what method did they use, what wadding did they use, what backing did they use, what embroidery cotton did they use, and if you have a label on your quilt saying what the quilt is, that's going to help the people of the future. And this is what the Quilt Alliance is all about. So their website is called www.quiltalliance.org, and it says document, preserve and share, and it says, what is your quilt story? So they do have some print-offs which you can get on their website. You can download them, or you can just read them, and they have 3 really good ones. So the first one is about label that quilt. and on the back it says about document that quilt. I'm going to go through that in a minute, and then don't worry, I'm not going to stand here and read it all. I'm just going to paraphrase it. And then it says about the Quilt Alliance, which is that one, and then it says, oh actually sorry, it does say about quilt storage and care as well, which actually helped me when I was redoing my quilt display recently. And then it says my quilt documentation plan. Well, obviously there's quite a lot of that, and that would make a very, very long label. I mean, you know, I thought that one was quite long anyway. But I mean, I suppose you could take elements of it really. So what shall we start with? Let's start with about the Quilt Alliance. Let me just read this, because it says the non-profit Quilt Alliance was founded in 1993 to support and develop projects to document, preserve and share the rich history of quilts and their makers. Quilt Alliance brings together groups and individuals for the creative, scholarly and business worlds of quilt making to advance the recognition of quilts as important historical items, because they are historical items, like the one that I just showed you from the Civil War. I mean, that's, you know, a historical item. So they did give out these lovely labels, and you can, it says you obviously you can photocopy it and then you can print it onto fabric, and then you could use, it says just to use a permanent fabric pen and a natural fibre cloth label, and then put that onto your quilt. So obviously there is this great big long like documentation plan and it does say things like, you know, label it with label the quilt with my name, the date. Maybe you could, I will include a QR code. I mean, would you put a QR code on your quilt? I find that quite funny. I mean, yeah, I suppose maybe I could do that. It says, I will label my quilt with the name, the date, the location, other details. And then you can photograph it. It says, take a picture of the finished quilt, take a picture of the back, detail the photos of it, take a process photos of making my quilt. And actually I am going to do that with the next one that I start on, whichever one that be. I'm going to document the process of me making it, so maybe I'm kind of like following the line of the Quilt Alliance, which is quite funny. And then it says, and keep the photos in this location. And then it says record keeping. You could keep a quilt journal, physical, digital, make a short video, record oral history about quilt making. So it's really interesting. And on the label that on this label that they were giving out at the show, it's just got quilt maker, so you're going to put your name. It says date started and finished, location made, title or description, special notes, and then you could like stitch that onto your quilt. So that's really nice. So there is like other information they're recommending you put on it. So you put on it like your name, the location, where the quilt was finished, started and worked on, or where you live, why you made this quilt. Was it for a gift? Was it for a show? What fabric did you use? So one of the examples that they've got on it, it says, for example, made during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, I think probably a lot did make quilts through the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. And it says, or made as a healing quilt after Steve's illness. I mean, that's really sweet, isn't it? So some ideas. And then it says information about the quilt. Typically the finish date, also include the start date, but sometimes even if they're decades apart, which is obviously what that lady did with her Civil War quilt. So, you know, you could type of the quilt or the pattern, material and technique. So you could put in the name, the thread, the batting, the cost of the fabric, photos of you. I mean, would you print your photo off and put it on the quilt? I don't know whether I'd do that. Very funny. And then it says, okay, you could put care instructions, and yeah, and who made it. So it says here about put a comment about who made it, and it gives an example of, you could say, said by my family to be made by my great grandmother Effie Barnes. She lived in 1901 to 1971. And actually, so a little label like that is probably what I'm going to be doing with those antique ones, because I found out lots of information about them, but there's no, apart from papers in the back of one of them and information I've got from the families on both of them, there's no labels for the people that have made the ladies that have made them. So I could then now do a label to say this is what I know about it, and it's, you know, been here with me. So it's really interesting. And then they also do this thing where, if you want to, you could upload a video to the Quilt Alliance website about you talking about your quilt. I might actually do this about this one, because what it says one person, one quilt, one camera, 3 minutes, another quilt story saved. A video documentation project designed to preserve the stories of quilts as told by their makers and owners. So if you, and I did actually go on their website, so if you go on their website, www.quiltalliance.org, and then you can look at the section that says go tell it, because every quilt has a story, and there's some really great stories on there of quilts. So I am going to put this one on there. When I'm going to get time to do that, I don't know, but you know, it does say only 3 minutes, so yeah, so we'll probably do that, and we'll do the other one. But the Quilt Alliance, it was a really great thing, and actually what they were trying to do at their quilt show was they were trying to get quilters that were going to it to pledge that they would definitely label their quilts, and they gave you all like a little square which you signed your name on it, and then they pinned them up onto the wall. And so by the end of like the 3 days that I went to it, there was all these squares up, and it said that everybody was signed to agree to it, because it really a really good idea. And now you're probably wondering about the story that I mentioned about the Red Cross quilts. So I'll tell you this quite quickly, because this kind of does link in with with labelling your quilts. So I heard this talk on the Red Cross quilts, and this is the Canadian Red Cross quilts. And what happened in World War II was that the quilters in Canada wanted to help the bombed Brits in London. Because they, you know, people, as we know, were being bombed out of their houses and being taken away, and so they wanted to help. They wanted to, you know, help them, and so a lot of the quilting groups got together and made quilts and then sent them over with Red Cross, and the Red Cross then gave the quilts out to these families. And the story goes that the quilts were passed down to the grandchildren, and the grandchildren kept the quilts, but then they were passed to the great-grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren actually didn't want any of these quilts, so they started ending up in charity shops, which is just like really sad. And so then these ladies got together and started to basically collate all these quilts that were coming to charity shops, because it had the Red Cross label on it, which funny enough is very similar, was because I have actually seen one of these quilts, and the label was very similar to this one, because it had like a little square like that, and it said Canadian Quilt Group and the Red Cross quilts. So they started collating all these quilts, and the lady who was giving the talk that I heard, she was a historian. She wasn't a quilter, she was a historian, and she said that what they wanted to do was they wanted to work out what the quilts were made of, because in the end of 1930s, early 40s, when the Second World War was on, Canada had a depression, so they didn't have much fabric, they didn't have many wadding. I mean, what did they use? What did quilt groups use? So they very gently took it apart to see what they could find. And this historian lady, it was just so funny, the historian lady said that what they found was a pair of woolly pants inside the quilt, which is just like really funny. And so yeah, so like, you know, so that's another reason to label it, because wouldn't it be amazing if you know, that quilt went back to maybe the granddaughter, or the grandson of the person who made it, and then they found their woolly pants in it. So that's and that just shows really how amazing quilters of the world are, and how welcoming and inspirational everybody is. So it's such a great story. There was actually a display of all the quilts, I think, at some point, and what they were trying to do is that they were trying to return the quilts. So just getting my next bits ready for you. They were trying to return all the quilts back to like the areas in Canada where they came from. So for example, they were contacting like the Ontario Museum, Vancouver Museum, those museums, to say, you know, hey, these quilts were made in your town, and do you want them in your museum? And sadly, some of them were saying no to the other space, but what they managed to do was send them to like a RAF base or a Air Force Base, that kind of thing, those kind of museums, and those museums actually were loving them. So it's a really great story. So the motto to all of this, everyone, is label your quilts, label your quilts, label your quilts. The Quilt Alliance is just the most amazing thing. You can have a look on their website. Let me just show you that again. There it is there, and there is the back of the leaflet, and the website is www.quiltalliance.org. So go check them out, and you can download all the information. So that's really great. So I'm just going to take a little sip of tea, and because it's gone a bit warm again. The weather here is just crazy today. I have no idea what's going on. So let me give you a few updates before I finish this Facebook Live. So if you saw my Facebook Live from the 9th of June, our website went live, which was really, really exciting. That's the most exciting thing, or one of the exciting things, I suppose, that's happened since the last Facebook Live. So please, please, please do go on the website and get your membership. It's completely free to join, and you can sign up, get your membership number. And we were looking actually at the membership numbers earlier today, and it literally is like growing every single day. There is loads chunks of people that are joining, which is just fantastic. And what's going to be happening is that my newsletters that I send out are going to come out of the website. So I won't be putting them on the Facebook group, because they're just going to come out of the website, because it's just going to make it easier for us. It's all in one place. So my next newsletter is due out end of next week. So if you want to keep up to date on all the things going on, then you need to register on the website, and then get your membership number. And obviously once you've got that, let us know what it is, because it's really exciting. So the next thing after that is, our next biggest thing is Festival of Quilts, which is really exciting. So that is on Thursday 31st of July, the 1st, the 2nd and the 3rd of August. And as you know, we are sponsoring for the Joy of Sharing category. So we've already got some interviews booked in with some of the people who have put their quilts in for the category, and so that's really exciting. So we're really looking forward to meeting you. But if you have put a quilt into it and we haven't made contact, or you haven't contacted us, please contact us, because we'd love to come and chat to you about your quilt. We don't have to necessarily take photos of you. We could just talk to you about why you made the quilt and just talk about it. But if you want to have photos, that would be great, because we can put that on our website. And obviously any photos that we take, we can send to you, so you can use it in your own social media if you have that. But there is still the discount code, which is on the Facebook group, it's on the Instagram page, it's on all of our socials. But the discount code for you to use is SHQ25, and it gives you a little bit of money off the tickets, which obviously every penny helps, doesn't it? And so do remember to put that in. And yeah, and so just checking my little list. So yes, so do use the discount code. And I mentioned in my last Facebook Live about these lovely rosettes. So I've already made quite a lot of them. They've all gone out to groups and out to people that are visiting Festival Quilts. So if you haven't already got your rosette, then do let me know. I can pop one in the post for you. They're not all green, don't worry. They're all different colours. I'm literally using all different colours. I can show you a little pack of some that are going off to a little group, so you can see that I'm literally making them all in different colours. And I'm putting these lovely big badge backs on the back of them, so they're not going to mark your clothes, they're not going to make any holes. Yeah, so they're really sturdy ones. So I'll just show you that I made a red one, and then I made a yellow one. So I just thought I'd put the green one on today, because I'm liking a different colour every time. So do let me know if you would like rosettes, and obviously then, if you'll see us around the show. So I am going to be doing, if you can't make Festival Quilts, then please don't worry about that, because I appreciate it is a long way going up to Birmingham, and it can be quite tiring as well. But we are going to be doing 2 Facebook Lives from Festival, and we decided to do 2 because we thought, why not? Let's just spread it out over the 2 days. We're going to be doing one on the first day, which is the Thursday, and that's at 12 o'clock, and we're going to show you the quilts that are in our For Joy of Sharing category, and then depending on the time, we might show you a bit of the show itself. But then on the Friday at I think 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, we're going to be do another Facebook Live showing you around the show. But we're also going to be doing some random YouTube lives as well, so that's going to be going on. So if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, then subscribe to that, because you might, if you don't catch the Facebook ones, you'll catch the YouTube ones. So we're going to be trying to show everybody around the show, because the Festival of Quilts is the biggest quilt show in Europe, and it's going to be amazing. It's always an amazing show. So the next thing to mention to you is about our upcoming sewing retreat, and that is in sorry, I'm just ticking off on my list that one there, right, as I won't forget anything. So our sewing retreat, which obviously I mentioned before, is on the 14th, 15th and 16th of November, and it is at East Grinstead in the Crown Plaza Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. If you go onto our YouTube channel, I've done a video all about the hotel, and it will show you where the rooms are that we're using, how it's going to be laid out. It's going to show you the restaurant, it's going to show you the breakout rooms, the hotel rooms you're staying in, where you're going to park, the spa, and they are super, super excited to have us there. So at the moment, we are going to go up to maximum 25 people. At the moment, I think we've got about 10 spaces left, and the price is £499, which is for the 2-night stay and 3 days of sewing. So you're going to be sewing from 9 a.m. on the Friday right round to 5 p.m. on the Sunday, obviously with breaks for food and sleep and everything else, so that's really great. And the deposit at the moment is 125. The final payment is due 1st of September. You know, so if you've got any questions, well, have an itinerary for it as well now, so I can send that out to people. So that's really, really exciting, and that will soon fly around, as we well know. So the next thing to mention is our the gallery section on our website. So if you remember, quite a few weeks back, I don't know when it was, maybe early May, maybe end of April, I don't remember, so much has happened. So I put a message on the Facebook page to ask if anybody would like to send us photos of their quilts or their patchwork items or the quilted items that they made, for us to be able to put them on our website on the gallery page, and they're all on there now. Everybody's is all on there now, and it looks amazing. So thank you so much to everybody that emailed them all in. I don't think I missed anybody, but if I did, then just shout, say hi, mine's not on it. But there's quite a lot on there now. So if you go to the website, www.shqa.co.uk, go to the gallery, little click, there's actually 2 clicks. You've got one at the top and you've got the big square, click on that, you go through to the gallery, and there's lots of little things that you can look at. So have a little look. But what I wanted to ask as well was that if anybody else has got any photos of any quilts that they've made, or anything, any cushions, any bags, any quilted items, any patchwork items, even embroidery things, that would be amazing, and you're happy for them to go on our website, then please send them to us. You can email them to me, you could even message them to me on Facebook, because I can pick them up from that, and we can copy them, and then, you know, we can put your name. We don't have to put your name, we can put what area you're from. You just want it on there, you're not, you know, don't want to have your name there, that's fine, we can do that. So please send more of those in. So the next thing is to mention, I have added a few more Facebook Lives. So as well as obviously the festival ones, I added on ones for September and October. I'm really sorry if you got hit with loads of notifications in one here. I go through my diary, and then I'm looking at all the days and think, okay, we could do that, because I've got to work out my teaching days, my group days, my charity days, and all those. So I thought, what we do is, and I've put one on for September when I'm going to be showing you my vintage sewing machines. That I'm really excited about, because I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5, and one of them I'm collecting tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. This is the one that I told you about before, that I picked up from the tip that cost me £8, and so I'm going to collect that from the lovely sewing machine service guy called Paul, and get that back, and I haven't got, because it's a handcrafted one, so I'm really excited. So I'm going to show you that one. So the September one is the vintage sewing machines, and then the October one is the is showing you my favourite gadgets that I love, things that I love using. So I'm going to show you that one, and then we'll start thinking about Christmas. We'll start thinking about, do I do some little demos, or we'll have a little thing, because Christmas is going to be here before we know it, as we well know, and which I'm going to come on to actually about Christmas. So let's do Christmas now. So we had the summer swap, and thank you to everyone who signed up to that and joined in with that. I hope you all got your swaps now. Any issues, let me know. That was really, really good fun. I would have joined in with it, but I've just been so busy, as you can imagine. I literally just run out of time, really. But I would definitely join in with the Christmas one, so somebody would get me. But let's do an amazing Christmas one, and again, Christmas themed, but quilted items. And but I will put that on the Facebook group near the time, so I'll probably start working on it. I'm going to make a note for this for myself, probably start working on it in October, and then we'll do the deadline of, I don't know, what should we do, end of November, maybe second week, third week of November. We can work that out, and then you can either save for Christmas or open when you get it. So I know people love doing like quilted swaps, so I think the Christmas one's going to be really exciting, and lots of you will probably sign up to that, so that is great. So keep an eye out for that one. All these things that I'm saying will be in my newsletter as well, so yeah, don't worry. So the next thing is that what I mentioned about was a huge announcement that the SHQA, we are going to be doing a Christmas advent calendar. So this is really exciting. This is something I've wanted to do for ages, because I have brought over the years a couple of advent calendars, and then I got a little bit like, you know, there's one by, is it Sewline? I think it's by Sewline. It comes in a little box, and then you've got all the little cubes, and I brought it like 2-3 years in a row, and everything was exactly the same, but then in different places. I thought, oh, this is really disappointing. So I thought, let's do an SHQA advent calendar. So it's going to obviously have, we'll probably do 25 items. So you get one for Christmas Day. It'll have really lots of goodies in it. It's going to have some merch in it. And we'll make it all like prettily or pretty Christmas for you. And we're going to be doing 50 of them. And I'm going to be having them launched on our website on the 1st of October. So I will tell you about this in my next Facebook Live here in September. I will tell you to remind you about it. So it will go live on the website on the 1st of October for 50 places, and then they're going to be sent out on the 1st of November. So you've got them way in time to start ready for the 1st of December. So look out for that, because that's going to be really, really exciting. I'm actually really excited about that. I might have to reserve one for myself, because, you know, I love Christmas and I love advent calendars, but we'll see. Yes, so 1st of October is the Christmas advent calendar launch, and I'm sorry to be talking about Christmas in July, but you know, it's going to fly around, isn't it? So let's do it. And I did think, can't talk about it at a festival in August because I'm going to be there, so let's do it now. So what else is coming up, or what else has been happening? Well, we've had loads going on with our social media. It's just been wonderful. So we have now got over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is just wonderful. We've got 32 videos, I think, on there now, so lots to watch. We've had some new videos go live recently. One of them was the NHS sewing that we did at Worthing Hospital, and so that was really great. Just a little short one for you to watch, just to see what we've been doing. And thank you, big shout out to Terry Jacobs, helping us for that one, Terry. Thanks so much. And you're in it, actually. If you haven't seen it, watch it, because you're in it. Yeah, so then the next one that's gone live is a video that I did when I was on the Celebrity Apex cruise ship back in when we left in May, and I do a tour around the cruise ship, and it's a really unusual tour because I don't think anybody's ever done Celebrity Apex looking at patchwork patterns, which is what I did. So I walk around the whole of the ship, so you get to see the whole cruise ship as well, which is great. And you get to see all the patchwork patterns that are around. You get to see the floor and the ceiling, and all of it, because it was just great. And we go into the spa, because actually one of my favourite floorings was in the spa. You see the guy who cut my hair, which is quite funny. And then you see a lovely guy called Nathan, who was desperate to be on the video, which is really funny. I'm like, right, okay, let's do that again then, Nathan, and then we can, we can put you in it. And he's Chevy. And what's really interesting, and what I learned, was that the spa was designed by Kelly Hoppen. So I didn't know that. So that's one of the videos. And then the most recent one is an interview that I did with Claire from So Easy. I did that at Kempton Park Quilt Show, and she tells you all about her amazing tables. It's quite a long video. I think it's like 20 odd minutes or something, but she's really great. She's really great demonstrating them, so do watch that one. And the one that's coming up, which we are going to put live, I think we're going to go live with it Wednesday, is the one that I did. This was totally random and totally weird, because I wasn't expecting to do a video there, and I'm sure Eloise probably picked up on this when she videoed it. Was sorry, you edited it, Eloise, not videoed it. Was the one that I did at the Viking Museum in Helsinki, Finland. Or was it Sweden? I can't remember. You might have to remind me. I can't remember. But it was basically the Viking Museum. I think it was Helsinki. I think it was. And it's really, really, really weird, because I wasn't expecting to do a video there. And there was all like this amazing tapestries, and there was fabric, and there was like this looming wheel thing. And what I learned was that in Viking times, women's graves were far more important than the men's, because in their graves they buried with them things like their needles and their cottons and their wools and all their sewing stuff. I mean, it was just like, wow, I need to literally tell everybody about this, because this is just wonderful. And so, yeah, so go the ladies of the Viking times, because, you know, you were far more important than men, according to your graves. And so it did make me think, okay, do we need to be putting it in our wills then, that we want to be buried with our sewing machines? It was quite funny. I don't know what my husband would think of that, though, you know, because I've got a lot of sewing machines and a lot of fabric, so so that was really, really good. And also going back to our social media, we've entered the world of TikTok, which was just fabulous. And the Viking Museum is in Stockholm, Sweden. Thank you, Ellie. Oh my goodness, it wasn't Helsinki, Finland, no, it was Stockholm, Sweden. So yes, so we've entered the world of TikTok, which is great. And would you believe it, my most recent little shorty video thing hit over 100,000 views the other day. I mean, it is wonderful. We've had some really amazing comments as well, which is just wonderful. So yeah, so we've got all the social medias going now, so whichever one you do, Facebook, Instagram, X, what is there, Blue Sky, TikTok, Pinterest, there's one more, where's the other one, I can't remember, but yeah, we've got all of them, so whatever one you like, we are there. So the last little really exciting thing to tell you about before I say goodbye is that this Friday at 12 noon, so this Friday the 11th of July at 12 noon, I'm going to be interviewed on BBC South East radio in Brighton, and I'm being interviewed by a lady called Sarah Gorrell, and she's going to be interviewing me all about the So Happy Quilters Association and why I set it up. So I'm really excited for that, and we're hoping to be able to like maybe do a video while I'm there as well, so if you don't get to watch it, or not watch it, listen to it live on the radio, then you should be able to like watch it back. I don't know whether they do catch up on radio. Maybe someone can tell me that. But yeah, so this Friday, 11th of July at 12 noon, I'm going to be on the BBC South East radio, being interviewed about the So Happy Quilt Association. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening and being here for my Facebook Live tonight. It's been a great evening again. And I will really look forward to seeing you on the next ones. So the next live is, as like I said, is at Festival of Quilts on Thursday. Then we're going to do another on the Friday. And then we're back here in September for showing you my gadgets and my vintage sewing machines. So I will say goodbye and see you all soon. And obviously I'm always here if anybody's got anything you want to say, let me know, show me what you're making. That would be really great. And I will see you all soon. See you later. I'm gonna have to walk around and turn the video off, so I'll see you later. Bye.
You can find and follow the So Happy Quilters Association on social media and their website.